Hi, what's going on? I am your kind of cute, adorable, very stupid,
very
host.
likable,
Very
not
likable.
stupid at all. Best host.
Ron Rose, and I'm with my lovely, beautiful, incredibly smart wife, Dr. Rose.
Hey, everybody.
So we had a little hiccup type deal.
Well, a
where
little
we didn't-
break.
Little break. So when we kind of started doing this, we're like, let's see. We'll go by the schedule. We'll see if this works out. And we were putting out a lot of episodes, like a lot.
A lot.
Every week we were
And
putting
a lot
something
of you amazing listeners were several weeks behind because we can
Yes.
see when you listen to an episode. And we know which ones you're watching.
have I See the Network.
We're Santa
like
Claus.
the Matrix.
We know when you've been watching.
Neo Santa Claus.
We know when you're awake.
That's it. Yeah. And so we were looking at it and we were seeing the trends and so we're like, okay, well let's kind of mix things up because it's important to have a good work-life balance.
For sure.
And we have a lot of life and we have a lot of work, and so we need to cut things back a little bit. So, do you want to talk about the schedule?
Yeah, absolutely. So we sort of sat down at the drawing board. You know, we looked at our scientific method. We looked at our observations of the
We
world
wiped
around
away
us.
my really bad drawings.
And we did. We have to clean off the whiteboard. And we basically decided that we're going to be putting out an episode every other week instead of every week. They are going to be, and we're also going to change the relationship with the patron program. So before you got an episode here, and then you got something different on the patron program. Well, now, every other week, you're going to get 45 minutes of us here for free. And if you want to keep hearing the super cool science we're talking about, you're going to have to jump over to the patron program. And guys, it's $5 a month. Like, give up one Starbucks latte. What else can you give up? One Subway footlong.
Yeah.
You know, one time, and you can get the rest of that really cool science. So this week, we are going to be talking about animal personalities.
Ooh, I know. I have 4 cats. We have 4 cats.
They have a
all
lot
of them
of
have
personality.
very different personalities. Tifa's very sassy today.
She's very
She's
grumpy
not
today
happy
is what
about
she
it.
is.
Simba is sleepy until he's hungry, and then he's not sleepy anymore.
Then he's
and
grumpy.
Then he just runs around like a madman.
Hyper.
And then the baby is a baby.
So we're going to be talking about some cool research. What is personalities? Talking about it in birds because, guys, I'm biased. I can't help it. But in the patron episode today, we're going to be talking about the personality of sharks. So if you guys want to learn more about how personality affects shark conservation and shark dynamics and a lot of cool research on sharks, jump over to the patron program. You can go to our website, I'llTakeMyScienceNeat.com. and hit the Support Us tab at the top to get access to the rest of this episode.
Yeah, and we'll actually give you a nice cue, like, hey, we're going to patrons only now, like that kind of deal. For patrons, it's going to be very simple. You're going to listen to this, and then you're going to get that part too over on the patron Pacific. I'm a child.
We're talking about sharks.
Paschetti.
Paschetti.
Not spaghetti. Paschetti.
And if you can't jump over to the Patreon program, if you can't spare $5 a month and you like this content, always please like, share, subscribe. When you guys do those things, we're on YouTube, we're on Apple Music, we're on all the platforms, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio. If you guys like and share and subscribe, you're forcing the algorithms to push our podcast up towards the top of the list so that more and more people can see it.
Yes.
So that does a huge service for us. So please go ahead and do that. Like, share, subscribe to this podcast. And before we get on to
there's other ways you can support us too, by the way. I mean, it's not just, listening to us. I mean, listening to us is the primary way. But you can go to our shop. You can purchase some things.
That's true. And guys, we opened an Etsy shop since the last time we talked to you guys.
I got really crafty.
So it's called Rose Innovations, Crafts and Creations. Check us out. Everything we make on there is made from recycled material and it's handmade. And we're really, really excited. We just put some new things up today. We've got flower boxes, jewelry, kitchen stuff. So go check that out. And then as always, you guys know about our merch shop, but you can go to I'llTakeMyScienceNeat.com. And you can check out the really cool T-shirts and handbags and all the stuff that we've designed on there. So, Mr. Rose is absolutely right. You don't have to join the Patreon program. You can also go buy some cool merchandise or check out our Etsy shop.
merchandise. You can actually have us create something for you. Believe it or not, custom made. I do 3D modeling.
Yeah. Pretty much all the items on there can be customized.
Yes, and I'm doing a lot of metal casting now, which is a lot of fun. I recently made a beautiful spoon holder, which is a leaf, and that's made out of Mountain Dew cans. So shout out to you, Mountain Dew. Thanks. You make a beautiful leaf, dude.
You do. It's gorgeous. Check it out on Etsy.
Yeah. All right. Well, okay. So let's get to the important stuff. What do we do on this show besides talk about science?
We drink and we know things.
Oh, we drink and we know things. What are we drinking today?
Okay, we are going to be supporting again one of our local distilleries. There's so much cool local stuff that we've been really excited about since we moved here. But this
West Virginia, my mama, take me
this is
home.
another one from Devil's Due Distillery.
Country
So they're
roads.
just down the road from us. What did we decide? Are they in Kearneysville? What does it say on here?
I think it's Kearneysville.
Yeah.
It's Kearneysville,
Just
Ranson,
handcrafted.
Charlestown.
Kearneysville, West Virginia. So they're just down the street from us. We
They're
love
awesome.
these guys. This is their rye. Now, I know we're normally bourbon people, but whiskey is whiskey. Come on, guys.
Whiskey is
So this actually,
It's
when
true.
we went and did the tasting on the day they opened, this was my favorite. I really, really like this one, which is why we bought the bottle.
Oh.
And this bottle has never been opened. Are you ready for the cork pop?
Oh, yep.
Let's see if I can even do it.
Oh.
That was a good
Oh,
one.
so beautiful. So beautiful.
All right.
Oh, pouring that delicious goodness.
That's a beautiful
Oh,
color.
man.
It's like honey wheat.
We're also, did we say what day we're going to be releasing episodes? Did we say that?
No, we did not. And
Okay.
if you guys think there's a day that's better, this
Yeah.
is trial and error right now.
Yeah.
But we're going to start releasing on Wednesdays.
Wednesdays.
We have been
middle of the
releasing
week.
on Fridays. We've been watching the stats, who listens when. So we are going to be...
So hypothesis for me is that we release on Friday, the really cool people listen, but I think the majority of people actually listen when it's Monday, Tuesday, because I'll be honest, on the weekend, I'm like partying.
No, I'm not. I listen to
I'm not
podcasts
listening
on
to
my
podcasts.
commute.
Yeah,
so I was
exactly.
like, Friday, you forget about it by Monday.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you need a little midweek pick-me-up, you can listen to I'll Take My Science Neat.
Whiskey Wednesdays.
Whiskey Wednesday. All right, let's taste this.
Smells so good.
It does. It's like got this
It has-
really sweet...
Yeah, oaky,
like,
almost syrup.
Yeah, but it's
Maple-
not
yeah.
sweet when you taste
Yeah,
it. I
it's
haven't
not?
tasted this one yet, but I
Let me
remember.
taste it right now. Oh, it's so good.
It's really good.
It's smooth. What's the proof on it?
I don't know. Let me look. It's 90 proof, 45% alcohol by volume.
It's good.
It's got this incredible peppery aftertaste, and it's pretty much like a straight rye when you drink it. There's
But
nothing
not like
really
a hot
exciting.
pepper. I wouldn't
Yeah.
say like it's like hot. I would say
No,
it just
it's
has a
not.
nice like fireworks in your mouth.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, like a little tingle at
it. Little
the end.
tingle,
But-
jingle.
So you get this amazing sweet nose that you can still smell while you're drinking it. And then it's like a pretty good, just solid rye flavor. And then you get this like the sparkle at the end. It's really, really good.
Yeah, it is really good. Let me. I'm gonna chase it with some Mountain Dew.
That's disgusting. I don't know who you are. All right, guys. Well, we are really excited to get to today's science, but hold on 1 second. We'll be right back after this quick break.
Hey, welcome back, everybody.
Welcome back.
This whiskey, rye, whiskey rye. Ha.
I was going to say, I
Almost
can't
a
talk
bourbon.
about science yet. I'm just enjoying this rye.
Yeah, we do some sciencey things on this podcast. I'll take my science neat. We talk about science. Today we're talking about animal personalities. We all know you guys listening probably have pets with some very fun personalities. I have a couple cats with some personalities, so I'm
Yeah.
interested in today's topic.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty fun. Also, if you know me and know my work and have talked to me about my work, I spend a lot of time ranting about how the birds all have these really annoying different personality, which makes it really hard to standardize what you're doing in the field at a lab. So this is a personality. This is a topic that's been near and dear to my heart for a long time because it is a constant frustration in my research that animals don't all just act the way they're supposed to and just do what you want them to.
What? You can't just like roll really high on animal handling and get them to do whatever you want?
No, it doesn't work like that.
Nerd.
Super
Yeah.
nerd. All right. You ready for today's first paper?
Yes. Yeah, go for it.
All right. The first
What we
paper
got?
is called Interactions Between Animal Personalities and Animal Cognition. Those are words.
That's words. What's cognition?
Cognition is like thinking, problem solving, all that stuff.
Okay. So, interaction between an animal's personality, like whether they're, very angry personality and how they perceive things around them.
Not perception, but cognition. Like how well
cognition.
do you problem solve?
Oh,
how,
okay.
how smart are you as an animal, more or less? That's really like dumbing it down.
Pretty
but
Pretty dumb. I'm pretty dumb. That's what
you are not.
If you're trying to get to that.
All right. Well, it sounds like we need to define personality. But
Yes.
before that, I want to thank the authors. The authors of this paper were Claudio Carrere and Charles Lecurto. And I know what you're going to say. Those are really good
Some
names.
really cool names.
And this was published in 2011 in the Journal of Current Zoology.
Ooh.
It's also a review paper, so they didn't list any funding.
Okay, so they are seriously just like, hey, there's all these really cool studies about aminals.
Aminals. Yeah, and actually, this was a really long review paper, and I'm actually going to skip halfway down and just not even talk about the first half. If you guys want to read this paper, I would strongly recommend it. The citation and links and stuff are in the description.
So just imagine like skipping that first part in Star Wars where they give you the scroll, the
Yeah, we're just gonna
and then
skip all the
scroll.
background.
Yeah, Darth Vader comes, does some stuff. Oh no, Princess Leia. Bleh.
We're skipped that part.
Skip that part.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going straight to the action.
Yeah, so let's first talk about how the authors define personality.
Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, help.
Your personality is psychotic, clearly.
It's true.
So,
Don't tell anybody.
personality, according to the authors, refers to stable, long-term behavioral, emotional, and physiological differences in suites of traits among individuals of the same species.
You're going to have to dumb that down.
Yeah,
for me.
all right.
Hmm.
So this is a set of traits. So a personality isn't just angry. You don't have an angry personality. Angry usually comes with aggressive, usually comes with, there's a bunch of things. Usually maybe comes with higher testosterone, usually comes, so physiological, that's what's happening inside your body. That's your, your immune system, your hormones, your neurons, your sensation, how you perceive things. That's all physiological.
Mm-hmm.
There's emotional. So anger would be an emotion, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then there are behavioral. So like, what do you do? So like aggressive might be a behavior, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're like biting or hitting or whatever you do as an animal. And so these sorts of things come together in batches. And so the other qualification is it has to be long-term and stable. So like our little kitten, I was trimming her claws earlier and she like clawed up my back and I was really angry for like a minute. That's not my personality.
Babe, I'd say you're aggressive. You're very aggressive right now. I need you to calm down.
So anyway, that's not my personality. That is just like an emotion I was having.
Right.
So a personality has to be a suite of these things that lasts over the long term in a stable way.
When you say sweet, you don't mean like candy. You mean
no,
like
I mean like
a host, a catalog of
set.
things, a set
Yes.
of things.
And so
like for example, right? If I was a aggressive personality, part of my set would be like does not get along very well with others, or maybe tends to bite more frequently than others, or
are you biting people?
all the time. I mean, best friend comes over, I'm like, hey, what's up, man?
He's got rabies.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that would be a suite, would be like aggressive, angry, high testosterone.
So it's like a list of things that go with that.
That generally happen together.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And so the authors talk about if you're interested in animal cognition, and actually I want to expand this to animal behavior because it's something I'm interested in. So anytime you're studying an animal, personality helps explain the variation in the data.
Mm-hmm.
So with cognition, you're like, oh, I want to see if this species is, has these cognitive skills. And let's say they're studying crows. Crows are one of like the best puzzle solving birds out there. But one animal might be way better at it and one animal might be worse because the animal that's really good at it might be adventurous or curious or any of those things, whereas another one might just be happy to like stay in their own little area.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean that crows in general aren't really smart. It's just like individual variation. And so they were saying we really need to start thinking about animal personality to help explain the variation in our data.
Oh,
And
that's
so-
interesting.
Yeah, and so they were saying personality differences are one of the major mechanisms that also maintain behavioral variability. So like I was saying, I studied bluebirds in the field all those years.
You did?
I know, it's crazy. Go listen to episode 1. Oh, I cut out.
You cut out. You whispered so low.
Go listen to episode 1.
Yeah, you got to whisper loud. You got to be like, go listen to episode 1. Like you're yelling whisper, which is contradiction. But.
No, but I studied bluebirds for a lot of years in the field, and I was just studying song rate, like in what context do females sing. But they have different personalities, and so some of them would sing a lot more when their mate showed up, some of them less, some of them would sing to their baby, like different personalities. And so
Right. Just like having a couple cats, one of them is super cuddly, and the other
time.
one's like, no, I rarely come out, and I'm like always trying to hide.
And the other one, when you look at her, she growls at you for no reason.
And you're like, what is up with you?
I know, even
Dude,
though the other half of the time
I
she just
live
wants
here.
cuddles desperately.
I live here too.
Anyway, so so they were talking about how personality can add all of this variation in behavioral data and cognitive data. And one of the major things we'd like to think about is learning. Do animals learn, how they learn, that kind of stuff. But it's really interesting because the way we test learning requires the animals to explore. They have to be willing to go out of their little safe bubble and explore something new to learn it. And so there's a lot of data that shows that more explorative individuals are, quote, better learners.
Oh, okay.
But that may not necessarily be true. It's just the way we test learning. So
When when you say explore, that makes me think of like rats and like the maze and the cheese.
Yeah.
Is that kind of like what we're
so
getting
a
at?
brave rat might go into that maze faster.
Gonna go in there. I might experience a minotaur.
Right. But a timid rat might take longer until they're like desperately hungry to
Yo,
get
bro,
the cheese at the other end.
maze, not cool, not about that life.
Yeah. And so we might say, oh, the brave rat was better at learning. But it could be that, like, from the time they actually got brave enough to start the maze, the timid one was faster or
and
something
then,
like that.
Just to throw things in a loop, what if there was a female rat and one of them was like, yo, I got to do good now because I got to show off. I'm just
You
saying.
just never know.
We
should test that.
We should test that.
Anyway, so they were pointing out some issues in scientific methodology in the way we test learning and cognition and how we really need to account for personality.
I agree with this.
And
just going into it, I agree completely. Yeah.
And so they talk, this is a review paper, so they talk about a lot of other studies. And they said in one study, macaques, which are a kind of monkey.
Oh, a monkey cat?
Macaque.
A macaque.
Look at your show notes. It's spelled right there,
A
sir.
Everyone knows I just wing it.
I know. He doesn't look at the show notes before we start,
because I like going in there blind. So then I'm like the
All right,
audience.
so a macaque, it's a kind of monkey. Subjects in this one experiment, they were screened first for their exploratory ability. So before they even started their experiment, they gave these monkeys like a new object that they'd never seen.
I do want to point out that macaque is not spelled how you think it's spelled. It's MACAQUE.
Yes,
which,
macaque.
Well, that's macaques.
I guess it is. I don't know.
I'm sorry. I just had to
commonly
point that out.
used
If someone wanted to
research
Google this right now and be like, "What's my macaque?" The first thing I would want to do is I'm thinking like McDonald's MC, C, then macaque, macaque. That's what I would put in Google. Macaque, and it'd be like McDonald's cake. Not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor. Do they have cakes? That's gross.
I don't know. That's gross.
Anyway. So they basically screened these monkeys to see how exploratory they were by giving them new objects to see how they interacted with them. And because the experiment they wanted to do required the monkeys to interact with an object in their cage. They
Mhm.
had to either like push a button or like pull a lever. And so
Pull the lever, Crunk.
if the monkeys weren't willing to touch new objects, that they were going to have this really long delay with some monkeys to finally like push the button. So they actually screened the monkeys in advance to make sure they were willing to interact with new objects.
And obviously, they asked them like the sort of questions
They
you'd
gave 'em a
expect.
survey.
Yeah, give them
Yeah.
a survey. A really bad one. Like, what's your favorite banana? What if the monkey doesn't like bananas?
Yeah, I know.
Nah, bad surveys.
And so the results showed that a higher percentage of exploratory subjects were able to acquire, quote, the operant response, either to push the button or the lever for the experiment,
Oh, that's interesting.
compared to what they called inhibited subjects. So 75% of the exploratory macaques learned the task of pushing the button or the lever, and only 22% of the monkeys who were scared of the novel object they were given were able to learn the task. So basically that means that braver monkeys who were like, oh, it's a new ball or a new thing in my cage, I'm willing to go play with it, 75% of them were able to do the task that required them to push buttons and levers, and only 22% of the scared monkeys. So personality affected the results of the test, but it might not be a cognitive issue. It might not be how smart they are, how well they can learn. It's just they're scared to push the button.
I would be scared to push the button.
Yeah.
I would be that 22%. I'd be like, nah, bruh, not doing it.
The other thing, okay, so you know how you were just talking about that rat in the maze, and you're like,
Yeah.
what if there's a girl and you want to show off?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they actually found that the exploratory tendencies, how fast or slow you are to explore,
Mhm.
can also interact with social context. So who else is around you?
Oh,
So
see,
they-
I was onto something.
I know. You're brilliant.
I don't look at the notes.
So this was
So-
done in corvids, or like crows, ravens, that kind of bird.
Corvids.
Corvids, that's what the group of crows and ravens, that family of birds.
We're learning a lot of words today. Need almost like a science, like language chart.
That's what people go to
macaque
school for.
and-
Macaque,
and
these are just animal names.
And corvid.
What really needs to happen is the alphabet books for children need to include better animal names.
Let's get on it.
Okay, let's do it. So okay, here's a new word. What do you think neophobia means?
Neophobia. I think that means you really are scared of the Matrix.
No, you're
No.
close.
Okay,
I mean,
well,
Neo is a cool character, but
It's-
no,
the
it means
one.
fear of new things.
Oh.
Does that make sense? New.
Yeah, Neo.
Okay. So in corvids, neophobia, a fear of new things, limits their exploring behavior. That makes sense. If they're afraid of new things, they're going to explore slower.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, humans are like that. I mean,
However, when they have buddies around in a social context, it actually facilitated their willingness to approach new objects and to accept new kinds of food.
look, this is, we all know the Southern, how the Southern people, we do things, right? Okay. Look, we
I'm
get
not
together,
Southern.
we
How
get
do you
some
do
buddies. Look, when we get together, it's like, I bet you I can ride on that hood while you drive, Jeff.
So you're willing to do way dumber
Dumber
things when
things.
you have a buddy around. Okay.
But it's completely for science.
Is it?
Yes.
I'm sure all those good old Southern boys will thank you.
Yeah,
for it.
I know. We're all part of the same crew, so I've definitely never done anything like that ever.
No. Heavy sarcasm.
Heavy sarcasm.
All right. So so this is really interesting. We know that personality can affect at least how we detect learning based on our tests. And we know that social context can make animals a little braver.
Mhm.
The other thing that's really interesting is personality might affect which cognitive tests you're good at. So in really excitable animals who are like if we think about our 4 cats, like Zelda, hyper little kitten child,
Meow.
would have a lot of trouble with a task that required patience. So a task, like, let's say, right now in the lab I'm in, we have a test where birds have to listen to a sound on repeat.
Mm-hmm.
And then as soon as the sound changes, they have to push a button.
Oh, that's cool.
A really excitable animal would have a lot of trouble because they
mean,
sometimes sit there for minutes
Is
at a
it
time.
a red button? Because,
Well,
I would want to push it.
it's a green button.
Oh, that's my favorite color. That's even better. Red's usually bad.
I
So,
mean,
like, if it's
there
green?
is a red button,
Oh,
but they're not supposed to push that one. They're supposed to push the green button if it's different.
but what if I want to push the red button?
Well, see, that's a problem. You got a problem.
Personality is
So
really diabolical.
personality can have a big problem with which kind of tasks animals are trying to learn. And so
Gotcha.
that might not be a species thing, although some species are more excitable and some species less excitable. But even within a species, a single animal might just like go
That's
crazy.
interesting. I've never even like occurred to me to think that personality would have anything to do with that for an animal. Like
Mhm.
humans, obviously, but
And I think a lot of us are like, oh yeah, humans have personalities, obviously.
yeah, obviously.
And our pets, because we see them every day, we're like, oh yeah, cats and dogs, and even people think like rabbits and stuff have personality.
Yeah.
But I think once you get outside of pets or even mammals, like people might be like, oh yeah, probably other mammals have personalities. But when you get into like snakes, sharks, like fish, birds, things that we don't see every day, you're like, well, that's just a bird. They just do what birds
Yeah.
do. But they actually, we get a lot of information about their personality, and there can be a huge amount of variation.
I feel like I agree with you, and I think when I think of like wild personality, I always think of dolphins.
Yeah, but they're
Dolphins are-
mammals too, right?
Yeah, and so they're very like energetic. Some of them I could see being like a little more timid, whereas other ones being like super excited to show off for a crowd of people. They're like in a zoo, I definitely could see that.
Yeah, absolutely. Dolphins are so cool. I love them.
I do too. They're cool.
All right, so there's a lot more to this review paper, but I'm not going to get into it. It goes into the whole history of like
Ooh.
how personality was discovered in animals and Pavlov's work, if you're familiar with him, and
That guy,
yeah.
that dude.
So I would strongly suggest checking out this paper and reading it if you are interested in animal personalities. But we are going to move on because I'm really excited about birds. We're going to move on to the next paper, which is about birds, but we will be right back after this short break.
And welcome back, everybody, after
All
our
right.
little break
Welcome
there.
back. All right. Before we get on to talking about bird personalities, which I'm
Birds.
really excited about, it is time for a quiz.
Oh. Wait, I'm the one. Wait, I don't know of a quiz, so I have to be the one taking it.
You are the one taking it.
Crap.
All right,
Ugh.
guys, I got these. This is a short quiz. It's multiple choice.
Oh, I like
I
that.
got these
Okay.
factoids off newhealthadvisor.org.
Ooh.
I have no idea how accurate they are. I just wanted you to know my source so that if I'm wrong, it's
Then
their
you
fault.
can yeah. It's their fault. All right.
All right. So, this is about personalities.
Oh, okay.
All right. So, firstborn children
Yes.
in humans
Uh-huh.
tend to be A, more responsible, B, more impulsive, or C, carefree.
I'm going to say responsible.
Responsible, you are right. Ding, ding, ding.
I would say responsible, and that's just because they have to be. If there's a second child,
Yeah.
they usually are like either the older brother or older sister, making sure that they're okay. So I would say responsible
Yep,
for sure.
it's responsible. All right, this one's a little more esoteric.
Mm.
All right. People who don't like bitter foods, like
Ooh.
coffee, dark chocolate, anything that's bitter,
Are wrong.
tend to be A, narcissistic, B, agreeable, or C, aggressive.
Oh man. Oh. Let's see. Do I know anyone narcissistic that likes coffee? Personally, no.
That
I really don't.
dislikes coffee.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Okay,
like,
you
I-
said likes. Just clarifying that
right,
you
right.
heard
Yeah,
me correctly.
yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah. If you, because I'm thinking in my head, most of my friends like coffee,
Pretty much everyone I know.
so I don't think any of my friends are narcissistic. So I'm just going off of me. And what was the other options?
B, agreeable, C, aggressive.
I don't know anybody aggressive either. Oh crap.
Everyone you know is agreeable and likes coffee. So.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with narcissistic.
You are wrong.
Oh.
Apparently, according to this website, this is why I gave you the source, because it could be wrong. People who do not like bitter foods tend to be agreeable.
Oh, that's why no one ever agrees with me. Crap. Hey, listen, if anyone here hates coffee, I need some friends. I like coffee. I'm just
Oh,
kidding.
no. All right. Here's the last one. It just sort of caught. It's a true false, 50-50 chance.
Okay.
Advertisements on TV can change your personality, true or false. Now, remember, a personality has to be a sustainable trait or suite of
Can
traits.
change your personality?
Can change your personality.
I'm going to say false. I don't believe that me seeing an advertisement, suddenly I change into, a different person. And I just don't. I don't think so. Oh, you're giving me the
You are
weird
wrong.
eyes. What?
So it says it should be no surprise that the more you do something over and over. Oh, that's repetition. Sorry. There were a lot of facts. Okay. Advertisements. Take that back. The ads you see on TV or on billboards can have an impact on your personality.
What?
Subconsciously, many product ads can affect your mood and attitude and can change what you desire and what you feel like your priorities are in life.
I'm Ron Rosen here. Today we're going to talk about the brand new bottle water here. This bottle is the best bottle ever. We're going to talk about today. You can slap it, put it down. You put water in it, drink from it. It's great. Man, after seeing this commercial, I feel like I want to crush things.
Anyway, so
What? That's
something to be
crazy.
aware of.
Whoa. I don't watch TV. I really don't watch a lot of TV except
Yeah.
with you. So
That's true.
maybe that's why I'm such a great person.
It's true.
Oh.
You are the best. All right. Quiz 1 done. You survived.
Did I
with
survive?
it. No, you got a 33%.
No, I got an F.
You failed.
Failure.
basically.
Failure.
But you
Bum, bum,
survived
bum.
out the other side.
I mean, that's great.
You
Yeah, I'm
failed
glad.
and you learned
yeah,
something.
Yeah, and yeah. Moral of the story.
Okay. Let's talk about birds. This
Oh, no.
paper is called Links Between Personality, Early Natal Nutrition, and Survival of a Threatened Bird.
By threatened bird, is that like, hey, bird, I'm going to get you?
No, that's like a bird that has a really low population in the
Oh.
wild.
Right. Okay, I just want to specify because
Yeah.
some listeners might be like, wait, that bird's threatened? Oh, they should call police.
I thought you were going to get caught up on natal nutrition, which is nutrition when you're a baby.
Oh, no, that totally makes sense.
Okay, good.
I don't know why when I don't, if anyone talks like this, that's totally fine. Because I know a lot of people that talk like this are incredibly smart.
You grew up in the countryside in North Carolina,
I
so
did.
like everyone you know.
But my
talks
default
like
of like, we're about to do something dumb, Joe. Hey, is that. I don't know why. It might be movies. I just want to say, if you have that, accent,
that. We love you anyway.
you're really cool. Because I grew up that accent. I grew
All
up in NASCAR country, so.
Let's thank the authors. All right. The first author was Kate M. Richardson. The other authors are Elizabeth H. Parlato, Lila K. Walker, Kevin A. Parker, John G. Ewan, and Doug P. Armstrong.
Those some pretty cool names.
Those were cool names. This was published in Philosophical Transactions B, which is a European journal. It's a good one. In 2019.
Is B better than A or is A better than B?
B is biology.
Ooh.
Dun, dun, dun.
A is anatomy.
Yeah, no, it's not. There's also Proceedings of the Royal Society B, which I just recently tried to publish in, and they didn't want my paper.
Losers.
I know. That's fine. We submitted it somewhere else. All right,
Yeah,
this
there you go.
study does have funding.
Ooh.
This
okay.
study there's a lot here, guys, and I don't even know what all these are, but I'm going to tell you because you guys told us you wanted to know about funding.
Yes.
This study was supported by Marsden Grant and the Leverhulme Trust.
And a whole lot of numbers and letters.
Yeah, well, they have grant numbers in here. I'm not going to read you their grant numbers. They have the Massey University Doctoral Scholarship and the NERC Research Studentship
NERC.
and the RCUK Fellowship.
Okay, funding sources not as cool as author names. We learned
Yeah.
that right now. Yeah.
All right.
Okay, let's jump into this.
Yeah, so this was actually a really cool paper. So, like they said, they were studying nutrition when birds are babies and personality and how well a threatened bird survives.
Okay.
And so they were saying personality might be important for individuals and species who don't do well in the wild versus ones who do well. So especially like if you go back to our Earth Day episode and we were talking about invasive species.
Yeah.
Like here, the house sparrow, massively invasive. Where in the United States, it's supposed to be in Europe.
I get my shotgun out every time I see a house
not.
sparrow.
Fake news. But we do not let them nest on our property. And the reason they're so successful as an invasive species is because on like the large, right? Like not individual personalities, but as a species, they're more adventurous, more willing to try new food sources, new nest sites, and they're also extremely aggressive.
Home wreckers.
They are. They used to like go and crush bluebird eggs and then just fly away, for no reason.
So when you look and you see a bird, and you're like, "Oh, it's such a cool bird." If it's a house sparrow, you need to throw a rock at it.
Don't throw a rock at it. But either way, so
the bird terrorists
as
of the bird
a
world.
species, that can have a major effect on how well things survive in the wild. But they're saying also individuals. When you're talking about threatened species, sometimes you're down to like 100 birds left in the wild,
Right.
and so the personality of those 100 birds can have a big impact on the survival of the species.
And you and Janine, I mean, Janine was a guest on our show.
Yeah, Earth Day episode.
You guys went and were searching for birds where there's like hundreds left.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, so this just walks right into that.
Yeah. And so there's also, aside from personality, there's also a little evidence or a lot of evidence that nutrition as a child is important for developing personality. Whether or not you're like really scared to explore things, like because the idea is that juveniles who are malnourished, who don't have enough food, are going to be less bold, less willing to go take risks and that kind of stuff.
Is that why I'm so dumb? Is because I ate too much?
No, stop it.
I jump out there and I'm just kidding. I do want to clarify. I know I keep saying that I'm dumb. I'm actually really smart.
He's incredibly
I'm
smart,
being
guys.
very sarcastic. If anyone is listening to this for the first time, it's like, man, this Ron Rose guy really hates himself. No, I don't. I think I'm really cool. I do a lot of cool things. I just make fun of myself and then everyone laughs.
That's for first time listeners and my mother, who calls me and goes, why does Ron think he's dumb?
Do that? She's super sweet. She's like, Ron is incredibly smart and he shouldn't say that stuff. It's like, well, I'm doing it because it's a joke. Because on this show, I'm the setup man and basically I'm supposed to be the joke and you're supposed to be the intelligence.
But in real life, it's the opposite.
It's
all right.
I don't know about that. It depends. Right. It depends on the day. And how much
investigated the importance of 3 personality metrics.
Okay.
So they were looking at activity, just like how hyper are you? How much activity do you have? Boldness. How willing are you to explore, try new things, check that out? And what they call acclimation time. So if you're put in a new area or a new circumstance, how fast do you get used to it?
Ooh. Does this transition over to humans?
It could.
It takes me a long time to get acclimated anywhere.
It does. Actually, I acclimate way faster than you.
You
That's
definitely
for sure
do.
True.
Like, it takes me a very long time to get used to the people. Like, when I've switched jobs in the past, it takes me a very long time to get used to the team and different personalities.
Yeah.
And I'm typically very shy for a very long time. Yeah.
So this study, I want you guys to get your Google out or whatever search engine you're using. They did this on a bird called the hee-hee, which is H-I-H-I, and is so stinking cute. I Googled it and I was like, I want one. They're so cute.
The guy off The Simpsons. Have you ever watched The Simpsons?
No, I've seen like 2
There's
episodes.
a kid. Every time something happens, he'll come out. I think he's like the bully or whatever. He'll come out and just go, ha ha. It's like so funny. Anyway.
Yeah, it's
sorry.
like that. It's the hee-hee.
That's what I'm thinking.
Anyway,
of.
so they were studying the hee-hee and they evaluated the influence of natal nutrition on those 3 things: activity, boldness, and acclimation time.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I want you guys to note, because I thought this was incredibly cool, when you Google it, please do. Almost, I think I only saw one that wasn't like this. Every single picture of a hee-hee on Google has what we call color bands on their angles.
Oh, very cool.
So the population is so small that they have every single one of them banded.
Wow.
And so if you go to where they're native and you're like, I'm just going to go birding in the wild and look at birds, and you take a picture of a hee-hee, it's got bands on its
So
legs.
banded is basically is you catch the bird
Uh-huh.
and you put a band on it so you can track that bird.
Yeah, and we have
It's very regulated. Like they
Yeah.
under a certain weight and make sure that bird can still fly, everything like that.
Yeah, it's highly
really
regulated.
cool and very hard to do.
And there are aluminum bands that have a serial number, so we can keep track of their serial number. And there are
Okay.
also just colors, so that when you have your binoculars out, you could be like, oh, that's orange pink male, and so you can keep track that way.
Very cool.
And so I just thought that was a really good way for people who are curious about banding birds and stuff. Go look at pictures of hee-hee because every single one is banded.
Wow.
And so the hee-hee was... So I don't even know where these islands are. They were reintroduced to the Tiri Mantagi Islands.
Tiri Mantagi?
Yeah.
Have you never been there?
Duh.
Come on.
In 1995. So they were extinct in the wild in those areas. And those islands now have 100 breeding pairs. And they are obviously intensely managed. So every single adult is banded. And at 21 days of age, every single baby gets banded. So they take them out of the nest and they put little bands on them and they put them back in. They also, for this population, provide extra food, either which is usually like sugar water. So these are like what you would give a hummingbird.
Okay.
And they also provide nest boxes for these guys to nest in.
They're really doing the work for these guys.
Yeah, because they
They're,
they
like,
want
about
them to come back. But what's cool is when you're that intense and keeping track of every single bird and what they're eating and where they're nesting and how many babies, that's an amazing amount of data to learn about personality. And so this, to me, this is an incredible study because they know who the parents are, the exact age and exact nutrition of hundreds of birds. And so what they did was they captured the juveniles after they leave the nest, but they're still pretty young. And they put them in a specialized cage. And the cage had what's called a natural side. It had plants and places to hide and that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then it had a novel side, which was like nothing but bare perches. And so for a bird, if you think about it in the wild, like they'd way rather be in the plants and the trees and hiding than just
out.
like out in the open.
Yeah.
And so what they were doing, so remember I said they were measuring activity, boldness, and acclimation time?
Yeah.
So for activity, they measured how many movements, like hops or flights, within the first 5 minutes of putting them in this cage with two sides. For boldness, they measured how long it takes for the birds to check out that side with no plants on it.
Okay.
And then third, how long from the time you release into the cage to what they call the first body shake. So in birds, if you've ever seen them like fluff up their feathers,
Oh yeah.
that's like okay, I'm settled in. I'm just like, I'm chill
I do that
here.
before bed every night.
Yeah, you fluff your feathers.
Okay, I'm good. Going to bed.
And so those were the measurements they were giving. And for some of the juveniles, they knew they were from nests who were getting sugar water, and other juveniles, they knew they were from nests that didn't get sugar water. So that's that juvenile nutrition. How much extra sugar are you getting? And they also gave something called carotenoid, which is a really, really cool. In birds, they usually get their carotenoid from their food. It's a protein that's really, really important for a lot of things. Like your fingernails have like keratin in them and stuff. It's a similar compound. But carotenoids are what controls like orange and yellow colors in birds. So if you ever see like the Baltimore Oriole or some kind of bird that's like orange or
vibrant,
yellow, that's almost always carotenoids from their diets. And so these birds need carotenoid as part of their nutrition.
What's a
It's a protein.
Okay. So it's
that is
meat?
important. It's,
Bug. Cicada.
No.
Everyone's used to that noise right now, aren't you?
Yeah. Oh my god, the cicadas are everywhere. So mostly they get it from berries and things.
Me too.
Yeah. So anyway, so they were giving sugar water and carotenoids to some animals. So what they found was that boldness, so that was how fast they explored the novel side of the cage, was related to how likely the juveniles were to survive to be adults. So the bolder children lived to be adults more often. Additionally, the juveniles who got the carotenoid were bolder than those who didn't. So that suggests that the early nutrition, getting that extra nutrient, made them bolder, which made them better at surviving.
Whoa. Wait, is this just like a big like metaphor as for you are what you eat?
It could be.
This whole episode is you are what you eat.
It
You eat a lot of
absolutely could
meat,
be.
you're gonna be survival man.
Oh my gosh. You totally, yeah, it could be. All right.
Did I blow your mind?
You did. Exploded.
Just
All
got
right.
learned.
If you guys enjoyed that, just wait till what is coming next. We are going to be talking about sharks. We're going to be talking about personality and how personality affects social interactions in sharks. And I am going to make Ron take a personality test.
Oh gosh, a personality
So
test?
if you
What?
want
gonna
to
make me
hear,
take one?
I am. So if you guys
Oh,
want to hear
no.
about Ron's personality and about sharks, jump on our Patreon program. Go to I'll Take My Science Neat, hit the Support Us tab, and jump on. It's $5 a month. Come check us out on the Patreon program to hear more about personalities.
Oh no,
And
that sounds
in-
like a bad idea for me. It
And
sounds
in
like
the
maybe
meantime-
don't jump in. I'm just kidding.
In the meantime, if anyone asks you how you want your science, tell them you'll take it neat.
So hopefully everyone goes and jumps on that patron thing.
Yeah, we'll see you in a minute.
See you in a minute.